Hello, this is your friendly neighborhood draftsman, and I am going to try to explain a little bit about perspective. Now, perspective is a term that artists use to describe a certain way that we draw things, and linear perspective is one of the ways. Atmospheric perspective is another way. And linear perspective is the one that makes people antsy. Makes them crazy. And it makes me crazy sometimes too, but there's ways that I think you can deal with it. So, first of all, what do I mean by linear perspective? Well, you know the story about the chicken, the joke, why did the chicken cross the road? You know the answer, to get to the other side, right? So here's the sun. Here's the ground is all down here, and the chicken and the road is on the ground, of course, and the chicken is over here, and the chicken wants to go over there. Now, if I were the chicken and I was walking across the road and looked over to the sunrise over there, here are the mountains. Let's say the road starts over there on the other side of the mountains, and then it comes over the mountains, and then it comes this way, right, towards us, and it comes out like this. This is what you see. This is not a pyramid. This is a road, and you'd see the dotted lines, dashed lines showing the traffic. Correct? Do you get this so far? So here's our chicken. This is what a chicken looks like. I don't even know. There's our chicken, and he's going to go across the road. Here's his path he's going to take, because the other side of the road is where he wants to go, and he's on this side of the road, so he has to go this way. Well, he was brought up by a very caring mother or father or uncle, and what do you do before you cross the road? What do you do? That's right. You look both ways. You look this way and you look that way. And what are you looking for? You want to go over here. You don't want to go down there. You don't want to go over here. What are you looking for? You're looking for that's right. You're looking for cars, traffic that is coming toward you. So if there was a car way over by the mountains, way in the distance, miles away, but the chicken could see one little pixel of red, because it was a red car, way off in the distance, he'd say, okay, well, I can walk across without a worry. The car's way over there, so he goes across. Now, what if he looked down and he saw the car was a little bigger? Where's my red? It's a red car. I said it was a red car. Gosh darn it. Can you even see that that's red? Yes, it's red. You can see that it's red. So it's a little bigger. It's a bigger dot. Well, I still think I can get across. So he goes across, and the car still is coming this way. Maybe it's 2 miles away now. Before it was 10 miles away or some distance away. Now it's closer. But he looks again. Let's say didn't go that time, and he's got a stone in his shoe, and he took out his stone, and he looks both ways again. He looks this way, but he sees a bigger red dot. And what does that mean to you? and you, it means the car is closer and it's coming this way. So as things get closer to our little chicken or me, they get bigger and they get bigger. And when they're this big, maybe you better wait for it to go past because you don't want to get squished. And if it's this big, then you really better hide. Now, as things move, as things are closer to you, they get bigger. And I'll prove it. I'll prove it right now. Okay, what am I looking for? See, I didn't need this red square. I had a bus. So let's say here's our road. So the road is coming closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. See, it gets bigger. That's what happens. This is closer to the camera than this is. Isn't that cool? That's how our eyes and our brains work at seeing things. And it took a long time for artists to understand how to depict the big and the small of things in distance and close up correctly in painting. They used to do it different ways. I'm not going to talk about that, but so let's now turn the page over and we're going to find out some other little things, little tricks of how we can draw things realistically and sort of make the space that we're drawing, our landscape, let's say, look realistic and not confusing. If you follow the rules or you copy what you see in front of you and you're careful about what you're doing, then it'll look pretty good. And if you don't follow the rules, then it'll look funny. And I don't want things to look funny. So one of the things that we learn in perspective is the horizon line. Now the horizon line, that's not exactly what we mean, but that's what we call it. Because the horizon line is not exactly the right word. I'll explain that to you in a second. It is where the horizon is, but what if you're inside a room and you can't see where the horizon is, where the sky and the ground meet? So you don't live on a desert that looks like this. Here's the sun. Here's the Bonneville Flats. Here's our bus driving at 500 miles an hour. The horizon line is the line where the sky meets the ground, but it's also the line where this is where it's confusing. If we had a road that was going toward the sunset is setting, it's going down, there's the horizon line. If there was a road that went from here straight to the horizon, to the sunset, it would do this. And this line and this line would meet at that point. So the horizon line has what is called the vanishing point. That's where the lines meet. But that's not exactly correct either. I'm getting really confused, and so are you. You, who know it all, you know immediately why I'm having problems, but what this is, in addition to it being the horizon line, it's also your eye level. your eye level is here at this line. And if I'm in a room, let's say I'm standing in a room and there's a giraffe and a chihuahua in the room with me. The giraffe is taller than I am. So its head, which is taller than my head is, its head is going to be above my eye level. My eye level is at 6 feet. My eye level could be at 2 feet. Doesn't make any difference where it is, but it's at 6 feet. And the giraffe's eye is up here somewhere. It's above me. And so let me make the giraffe. What does the giraffe look like? Something like that. And then there's more down here. And then the dog, the chihuahua, his eyes are way down below my eyes by 5.5 feet. So his eyes are down here. Here's his little chihuahua eyes. What do chihuahuas look like? So there's the chihuahua head, and there's the giraffe head. Here's my eye level, is right here. Anything that's taller than my eye level is going to be above, on my drawing, it's going to be above this line, this horizon line. So the top of the Eiffel Tower is going to be up here. The airplane taking off from the airport is going to be up here. My neighbor, who's 6 feet 7 inches tall, is going to be up above here somewhere too. Anything that is below my eye level is going to be below this line. Now the giraffe is interesting because it's going to be on both sides of this line, because part of the giraffe is above my eye level and the other part of it is below my eye level. I don't know, what do giraffes look like? Is that what they look like? So if I was standing right next to this animal, my head would be here, right? My eyes would be right there, and here I would be. All of the part of the animal that's taller than 6 feet is going to be above this line. The dog, what does a chihuahua look like? The dog, all of it is going to be below my eye level. I could be sitting in a chair and it would be below my eye level. It's low. It's going to be below this line. So when you're drawing, let's say you're drawing a house, some of the house is going to be below your eye level. If you were to walk up to the front door, the doorknob is going to be below your eye level, right? The front steps are going to be below. The top of the door is going to be above, because you don't have to duck to get in the house, right? You go right in. So the top of the door is going to be above. The second story window is going to be above. The chimney is going to be above. Much of the house is going to be above this line, and much of it's going to be below it. So when I'm drawing, if I'm out in the real world and I'm drawing something, I am aware. Immediately I can divide here's my picture, let's say. I can immediately divide what I'm seeing in front of me by what's above my eyeballs and what's below my eyeballs. And this would be the road, the grass, the lawn, the lake, the flowers. And up here would be the clouds and the mountain tops and things like that. I can see by looking straight ahead the things where I have to turn my head up to see is above my eye level, and everything else is below. So once you get that figured out, it's not the horizon. Yes, it is the horizon, but that's not sometimes you can't see the horizon. Sometimes it's you've got all sorts of buildings and trees and crap like that in the way, and you can't see it. But you can always tell what's above your eyeballs and what's below. So this is an important thing. Think about that, eye level rather than horizon line. Now, one of the things that you learn in drawing in perspective, you almost always start out with this road going off into the distance. And here's our chicken still trying. The traffic is bad that day, so he's still over here. He still wants to go over here. And oftentimes I'm just going to show mountains just because I can. And obviously, this chicken is much smaller than a mountain, but the mountain again is really far away, so it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes off in the distance. So that's why they're so small. The chicken's so big. One of the things that we often do is to show perspective also by doing the telephone pole idea. So here you have the telephone poles, and they're taller than my eyeball. My eyeball is here, remember? That's the horizon line. The chicken's eyeball is way down here. So you know what he would be seeing? I'm looking at this. You want to see what his view would be? His view would be different. I'll just show you what his would look like. Because his eyeball is only a foot off the ground, he would see this, believe it or not. Here's the eye level is lower. Here's the mountains. Here's the road. You see the difference between the two roads? He's closer to the ground, and the telephone poles do this. He sees more of the telephone poles above his eye level than I do. These telephone poles are special telephone poles. They're only 12 feet tall, by the way, in my universe. So you see the top of this telephone pole is twice as high as I am. This one, it's still twice as high. Here's my eye level. Here's the ground. Still twice as high. Still twice as high. And believe it or not, these lines, the lines at the top of the telephone pole, they go to that same point. Isn't that clever? That's called the vanishing point. And the chicken, he or she sees the same thing. It still goes to that one point, but because he's closer to the ground, most of the telephone pole is above his eye level. It's not halfway like mine is. And if I was a giant looking down, let's say I was a giant, let's say I was 18 feet tall, same road, here's the chicken way down here, here's 6 foot tall pier, standing here, looking both ways as well. Here's the telephone pole. The telephone pole was, what did we say? 12 feet tall. Oops, I made it too big. See, I've already screwed up. If I was taller than the telephone poles, all of the tops of the telephone poles would be below that line. That's a horizon line, but it's my eye level line. Ignore that. You see? So, and again, the tops have that same line. They all go to that vanishing point. So a giant who's this big, here I am, 6 feet. Here's the giant at 13 feet or whatever we're making him be. Here's the chicken at 1 foot. We all see different perspectives, right? Now, one of the cool things about perspective is it's mathematical. Now this is, and it's not fuzzy math, it's real math. It's real, true to life stuff. And it's really exciting when you can use something like mathematics to help you with your drawing. So I'm going to show you a trick. Let's say here's our little road again, and I'm in charge of deciding where the telephone poles are going to go. And here's the telephone pole, 12 feet tall, because I'm 6 feet. It goes 6 feet is here, 12 is up there, twice as big. There's another one here. These are the lines that go together. So one's there and one's here. And let's say my task is to draw where the one that's going to go in between this is going to be. Where would that be? Where do you think that's going to be? Would I measure it with a ruler and put it halfway between? Would it be right here? Do you think that? Or would it be this way? Or would it be back that way? Where do you think it should go? Well, here's how we find out. Here's one, and here's another one. Now let's just draw the lines going like that from the top and the bottom. So we've got this line here, this telephone pole here, and we've got these lines underneath. Now, if I were to walk over this way and look this way at them, there'd be a post here and a post here, right? Here's the top of the telephone pole, there's the pole, there's the pole, there's the ground. If I didn't have a ruler, let's say, how would I find where the middle of this is? Well, the middle you find out by doing this. You make a line going across from point to point and point to point, and right there, that's where the middle is. That's pretty easy to understand, right? Cross, cross. Do the same thing here. With your pencil, you draw a straight line that goes from there to there, and another straight line that goes from here to there, and right there, that's where they meet. So that's where the telephone pole goes, believe it or not. So there's a lot of room here and not very much room there. And now you want to know where the next one goes? Well, you do the same thing you just did. You do this. You make a line going through that point. These points are all going to be in the same spot. Pull this down here like this. That's where the next one's going to go. And you can do this all the way to infinity. Isn't that cool? So this is what's fun about perspective when you actually do get the rulers out and measure things. But if you don't have your rulers with you and you're out somewhere and you're there's buildings in the distance and there's buildings close up and there's things in front of other things, the first thing you have to do is remember that the things above your eye are the things that are taller than your eye are going to be up here in the upper half of the drawing. Things that are shorter than your eyes are from the ground are going to be down here. And that's step one. I think that's enough. I have to find the cap to this pen, which is right there. See ya.